Okay, if you had to only have one condiment for the rest of your life, between ketchup, mustard, and mayo, what is it?
Can I substitute mayo for
Miracle
Miracle Whip?
Yes,
It's mayonnaise.
yes,
Oh.
that's fine.
I gotta do Miracle Whip.
What?
Ketchup, mustard, or mayo for the rest of your life. You can't
Well,
have
we all
the other
know
two.
it's mayo for Lee.
It's mustard.
Ketchup.
Oh, wow.
Miracle Whip.
Mine's mustard. You got feet pics? We want them. Why? Don't ask.
Welcome back to the Knights of Argos, guys. My name is Lee.
Justin.
And Brandon. And today we have a special episode because this hits quite close to my heart because we are talking about something that is a very big part of my life, which is role-playing games, tabletop, D&D, other things like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are we diving into?
Okay, yeah. Well, crazy, very strong intro. I get you.
Yeah.
I guess one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about was how we got immersed into this idea of a game that's like tabletop, putting yourselves into the shoes of a character and stuff like that. Because I know that people who have been part of it come from different backgrounds. Like I know actors have played this, because, there's that idea of character development. I know there's people who have played other games before and are want to take it to the next level of that idea of building a character, building a world even, you get me?
Yeah.
So for me personally, when we started, it was very hobby-esque. My older sister started playing with her friends, and then I was the little brother who wanted to be part of it. So my dad was like, "You're letting him play." And I was like, sorry about my stats. But also, like I just said not too long ago, I started that about the same time that I started really acting and performing. And I always tie those two together. Like I said, character development, figuring out backstory, that's something that as a performer we have to do, to make everything very realistic and fleshed out and stuff like that. And it just transfers so much into how I play D&D, especially nowadays. So, and other tabletop games, but mostly D&D. So yeah, I think that's just a really interesting, to me, I feel like that's not how a lot of people talk about that game. But then again, I don't know a lot of performers who play D&D.
Yeah.
Actors and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out.
Well, I don't know his name, but it
Joe.
was Joe from Magic Mike.
Yes.
He was one of the big ones that went on, going on to a late night show, and he was talking about how he actually plays D&D still.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes around and he has a lot of friends from Hollywood and other movies that he invites, and actually plays D&D and in his home. So.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I remember seeing some YouTube segments. I think they had some YouTube things before, certain celebrities. I remember seeing Vin Diesel. And then
he plays with Matt Mercer. They do a little campaign thing or a little one shot thing, and it was pretty cool.
And I bet that idea of just creating character, figuring out things even right on the spot, transfers as a player or even a dungeon master or someone who has to run the game.
Well, it's good. It's good practice too because you're practicing different characters.
Yep, and exactly like my dad said, who's DM'd for years and played for years, that it's such a interesting training on an improv challenge. Staying on your feet, being able to think those quick ideas.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. Yeah. So, I guess you just want to dive into, how we got into.
Yeah.
D&D?
Yeah, how you heard about it, or because I know both of you guys' history with tabletop.
Yeah.
Why you wanted to become interested maybe in it.
So, I guess I'll start off first on that. Basically, I guess I was very interested in very fantasy, out like way like story driven kind of stuff that are based on fantasy, and I was very into it. But at the time, I was doing choir, I was doing football, and the people around me weren't doing had playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I've heard of Dungeons and Dragons, but I just didn't know exactly what it was.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm interested in it, but there's nobody here that I can play with. But then later on, when we were doing the magical, you needed a ride. So I gave you a ride. I think it was a junior, senior year, one of those 2 years.
I was a child, yes.
And you were saying like, yeah, I live over here on, so and so street. It's like, wait a second, I live on that street. It's like, what?
That's when we found out that we lived like down the street from each other in
Yeah.
high school.
And we started talking, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm kind of interested in playing D&D. It's like, oh yeah, I also play D&D. So it's like, what? So that kind of snowballed into that, and then I started really kind of getting my feet. What's the word? Building roots or something, to where I really ingrained myself into D&D when I went to college, and started playing with guys like my fraternity brothers and my and at like a store, like a card shop / like D&D store, and every Sunday they would have D&D, and what was it? You have like a card that you can do Wizards of the Coast, so that you can use that particular character and go to like different conventions and play with that character.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah, they do that stuff over there, which is really, really cool. I never went to any of those conventions because I was poor and I was a college student, so I needed to do my thing. But it led to other people wanting me to play in their campaign, so I was like, yeah, man, I'm down. So it built into that. So yeah, that really made me get into D&D a lot.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely think I can't even remember what movies were out at the time of like, but I always like correlate my first D&D character with Legolas from Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Because I was an elf archer, and like seeing that on the screen and being like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Like I want to play that in a game. That'd be so cool. So getting that like you said, like fantasy inspired and really interested in that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, I definitely took inspiration from him for my character.
I'm trying to think because the very first character that I was very much involved in was a half-elf ranger that was named Roland. And I was playing Roland, what? And so, but I was playing with my fraternity brothers, and I was doing like some neat things and everything. I was twin blade and everything like that. It was 5th edition. But then now I'm playing a barbarian, which is totally two different, like finesse while
Aggression.
And I'm loving my barbarian Dorn. Oh, I love Dorn. He's an image of me, but I love him. But it's just, I never had a set kind of like what's the word? If I saw a movie and there's a particular character, I'm like, yes, I want my character to be this particular character. It was always different, but I think that's the beauty of it, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. What got you into the rolling of the dice?
Well, I guess. Well, how I started, I guess, was video games.
Yeah.
Like the whole role playing, being your own character in a game, and just kind of going through it. And I guess one of the games that really that I internalized and really, I guess, fell in love with, and like just geared that like role playing thing, was this game called like Gothic. And it was like this like modern day like Skyrim at the time. Like this game came out like in 2002.
Damn.
But it was like open world. and you could go through like different places without like any loading times or anything, and there was like wildlife and stuff, and I thought that was like so amazing at the time.
PC.
So yeah, it was for the PC,
Okay.
and like I just kept playing like Fable, and like of course the Elder Scrolls series like Morrowind,
Oh,
Oblivion. Then afterwards, like those just kind of fueled my like RPG kind of element that I was
True.
looking for, and I didn't know about D&D until like high school, which was like so many years ago.
Years.
But like I never. To me, D&D was like kind of nerdy, you know. Of course, like that stigma, right?
Yeah.
But then I ended up like wanting to play afterwards, and then I guess like I never knew of anybody. Like I mean I lived like out in the boonies somewhere, like I mean I was pretty poor, but like
super far.
yeah, I lived super far, but like I didn't have anybody to like talk to or like anything about video games or D&D for that matter. But then like in college when I moved down here, like I ended up talking to John.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh yeah, like I wanted to play D&D, and he was like, oh, I know someone who plays D&D.
I know
He was like,
the
it's
person.
Brandon. I was like, oh yeah, okay, maybe we can like get together and like play, and then that's how you basically introduced me to
That campaign was super funny. I don't know if I ever told you about this, but it was like I was running the world, right? Or was it my dad?
for me and John.
Were you, John, and Natalie, and her brother?
No way, they played.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
never
remember.
played with them?
I don't remember.
Well, my brain puts those two groups together because I know John played with them. But it was a violinist,
Okay.
a violist,
A
a cellist,
Yeah, cellist and a
bassist. We had a whole string quartet. And then me. And I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So, all bards?
I know, essentially. But
Yeah.
but it was cool. Yeah, and
Wow.
it's crazy. Like I was talking about a little bit like I was talking about just a moment ago.
Yeah.
That our idea of this game, like as a family, it was very like, you want to play it, come play with us. You know, like it was like this was open to whoever, like, which is why like it was just like, I have friends who want to play, let's play it, let's try it, let's do these campaigns. And it's so crazy to think about back in 80s, you know, and like when the game was like really becoming big and people knew the name, that people thought it was connected to such dark material. And it was like, it could have been if you really focus on like the demonology and all the devils and
Yeah, but that's
that
lore, that's
symbolism.
lore and everything to make the story more deep.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
not to be like conversion.
Yeah, pushing it as a focus.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like to think of like how that was, and like one of my best friends in middle school and high school, I always wanted him to play with us, and he never did because his parents thought that game was super bad, like for their kids. And it turned out later that like years later, I played D&D with him and his parents, because after a couple years and after a while, you know, just like getting rid of that stigma, of like such the negativity of it, that they were open-minded to like go in and play it. And we played it, then they played it with their sons and me, and then my dad ran the campaign.
Oh no.
Wow. That's actually really
And
cool.
that's good because like in the end it's still a game. It's
Yeah.
just one of those things where, you know, it's just a storyline.
Well, yeah, and I mean, back in the day, I guess they like, of course, the media like blew it and just sensationalized.
Because
it.
you were there. You were there.
Of course, yes.
In the
yes,
80s.
Yes, in the 80s.
We're there by thought and by spirit.
No, but I
Popo was there for sure.
No, but like I remember, like I would go back and watch like some of these like news cast about the game and like. And they were all being extremely serious and saying this is like a gateway to Satanism and like all these things, and I'm like, no, like,
Yeah.
like I can't believe like how people believe that, but I mean at the same time it was just kind of like just overblown
And then like there was you literally would get a book and it would open up and you would see a pentagram and a devil.
yeah,
You know, and it was like, okay, I can see why they thought
Yeah.
it was so directed at that.
yeah.
But I think it's also, it was a new thing back in the day, and it was the unknown too. I think
Into the unknown.
like it was a new game, and like a lot of parents didn't know about this. It's like
Exactly.
it was like probably like the Ouija board or something for
We're not getting into that.
the Ouija board. You can do the Ouija board, right? Game top?
No, thank you.
No.
Board game?
Yeah.
Ouija board.
Find out who's talking to you.
But yeah, it's like there's still like I still think about that, like that's so crazy, and like and now like I said, like my dad's been playing for years. He went through that whole era of all that stuff happening, and you know, crazy. But now that we see it as such like a not I say it's positive, it's mostly positive, but also using it as a teaching method, like because he was a teacher for years and stuff like that, and like I said earlier, it keeps you on your feet, but it's also very like lesson planned, and you know, like planning the adventures and thinking of this and adapting to your students or your players so that they're understanding everything. Math, you know, geography. There's so much that you can take away from it in a positive learning experience.
And don't forget about social skills too, because
Yeah.
a lot of it is about depending on your other players, how to interact with others, and just learning how to act, like just simply how to interact with each other, because that's a really good skill right there.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's, I guess now we've all DM'd at this point,
Yes.
right? So if you had to say, in that aspect of like planning, adapting, improv, you know, what is your favorite thing to do? First at like a DM level, like being over everything, but if not, kind of going into as a player.
As a DM right now, like,
Either one.
well, I would say as a DM, just to simply because like I DM'd for students, and I just love, and these particular students didn't had any experience whatsoever for D&D, and I just loved it when they were experiencing just the joy of, I can do this, yeah, just roll for it, let's see what happens, roll for it. I rolled a 15. Okay, you're going into pin, so you can get the horse out, so you can steal the horse. So it's like, oh, I roll this. You're getting the horse out. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! It's just a simple. It's nothing there, but they're enjoying the experience of that. That's what I loved about being a DM for like kids. It's just they're learning about D&D and just the simple things of that. That was the joy of being a DM.
Well, as I said a little bit ago, I perform acting, you know, all that stuff, and I've always loved the improvisation and quick thinking of DMing, and like it's so fun to not limit your players. Like I'm not a big fan of like when DMs are like railroading and it's like, this is how it's gonna go, this is how it's gonna go, cool, I have this solution, you know. And I really like when a DM keeps it nice and open, and gives your players that feeling of like, oh, I can do this, oh, I can do this, oh my gosh, cool, and just kind of guiding them, and just like keeping it in a generalized route, you know, but keeping up and like improving and thinking of this and this and this, and just making it as enjoyable for the players, you know, but also using it as like a practice on me. It's like, oh, I thought of this, oh, okay, I could do this, oh, I could do this. I mean, and it comes with time, you know, just like arsenal of like this works with some characters and somehow they play the characters, other times it doesn't.
Mm.
You know, you don't want to throw this if it's going to confuse them.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
so just kind of like gauging that, I think is so cool. I think that's one of my favorite parts. I'm doing that right now in our Pokemon tabletop, a little bit different, but I literally have no, like I know like what the gyms are. I know like what's important in the cities, but it's all mostly led by the choices that the players are making.
Okay.
It's kind of like the like butterfly effect. Like, oh, they did this. They did this. Oh, I think now I can introduce this because I know that they'll be interested in it. You know, there's really no plan. There's no module that we're using.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, stuff like that.
Um,
Maybe
I guess for me is like the world building.
Okay.
I guess for me is like I've actually learned a lot about storytelling from being a DM because nobody wants to get handed like a story. They're like, oh, hey, this is what happens, or hey, like this is what's going to happen if you do this. Like you, I guess the enjoyable thing about playing is the players discovering a world that you've built. They don't know anything, right? So it's just when they're being handed the story or what's going on, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, then what? Like,
yeah,
you know, they already know it. So what? Why? What's the point of this? Like running around in your world if they already know what's gonna happen or what's already happened?
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. And I love like that idea too of like having a plan or like knowing like if they ever get there, that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And when they walk right to her, you're like, yes, I can now talk about this and this,
Yeah.
and they get to envision it and just if like especially if like you're really good at like imagery
Mm-hmm.
and like giving them like things so they can imagine it. Like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's well, that's something I need to work on too, because I feel like I feel stuck sometimes when I can't find the right words to explain or elaborate.
Paint a vision. Is
Yeah, like painting an actual like image in their mind to what I want them to know.
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, because you don't want to like
Give too
undersell
much.
it. Yeah.
or
You don't want to
undersell it.
overextend and be like, oh wait, maybe I should have kept that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
because-
should keep exploring,
Mhm.
but you don't want to undersell it where they're like, oh, let's not go there.
Yeah.
because
exactly.
you don't want to be super specific because sometimes some players want to paint it their own kind of like
Mhm.
their
Yeah,
own,
true.
own environment. Like, well, this is how I picture it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I learned that as like I've DM'd and I've learned like DMing also made me like know as a player like how to like I guess play in somebody else's world as well. Like it's like a like two sides of the same
coin?
Yeah, two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, definitely.
also just improv.
Yeah.
There were a lot of the times where I had the world. I had something that I had in mind. I just didn't have a module or something towards it.
Mhm.
But I just like I was like, well,
You wung it?
yeah, I just winged it, and I was like, well, let's see what happens, and it was fun. Like it was, everybody enjoyed themselves. I thought I did really well, and it was just really fun. Like even for the DM, like even if you have things set, it's just good to improv, even for yourself. Like it's just it makes it like a surprise for you and your players. Like it's
Yeah.
just, you know, it's just that discoverability is what makes it fun.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what else. I feel like I'm posing a lot of the questions. Or
Oh
kind
well,
of
I mean,
topics.
what about board games? Actually,
See, I started just playing board games when we were really no, like for real. You introduced me to board games. The only board game before I started playing board games with you was probably Monopoly, but that was on the computer. Yeah, there was
Computer.
there was a CD. I think it was.
See, it's not a board game. It's a video game.
It's a video game technically, but it was
a
you
video
play.
game based
on
on
a
a
board
board
game.
game.
Board game.
Yeah.
But it was I think McDonald's had it. Like they gave it away. Like had it a Happy Meal. I forget what.
Come in your Happy Meal CD.
I mean, they had some.
I mean, they played with the little sticker things on it. You know, the little
Yeah.
promotional things that they did.
Yeah, but I forget where I got it, but I remember playing that, and that was pretty much the whole thing. That the only board game. Yeah, my family didn't have any board games. That's the thing. We just played
Really?
no board games. Yeah, but when I started hanging out with you back in high school, we played a bunch of board games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from an early age we had board games. There's one very specific, which is Hi-Ho Cherry-O, which my sister's, we have it still. And you essentially like, you spun something which told you how many cherries you can pick and put into your bucket. And if you spin it and you get like empty, you dump your bucket or you drop your bucket, then you have to put them back. And like the point is to get the most cherries or something. I think that's vaguely what the game was about. But we've had that since as long as I can remember. You know, and like
what kind of what?
Like,
what kind of life? You know, and then like and then stuff like Monopoly.
I mean, everybody played it.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, and then we also Scrabble. I remember playing Scrabble for like super long. Skippo and other like, but those are kind of like card game, you know, esque stuff. But like board game, yeah, stuff like that. And then it got into like Clue, you know, and then Jenga, you know, like anything like that we've had for a while. And it wasn't until like maybe when like I was in high school that we started venturing off and we got like Settlers of Catan.
Okay.
And we're like, ooh, this is different.
Yeah.
It's a whole different kind of. And
It got
crazy.
exploded.
It got crazy
new layer.
Yeah, because it's like D&D. It's such an inviting way to engage with a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and that's how we see board games a lot now. Is just or like our family is just like. It's either like a very small group of people and it's very complicated games, or it's a big group of people and everyone's having fun, you know, stuff like that. What about you? Any board games?
I mean,
Did you have Hi-Ho Cherry-O as a child like I did?
No.
Oh, I was gonna make a bad comment. Keep it out, Lee. You hear it. Later on when you're editing, you'll think about it and you'll know exactly what I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna cut everything.
I'm gonna cut that whole sentence.
I mean, I didn't play board games until I met you, basically.
Yeah.
What we're saying is, I've been the problem. I'm the reason that we're here now.
Yeah, basically.
And it all goes back to Popo. Yeah.
But I mean, it's because the way I grew up, I wasn't sheltered, but like my family was like, we were like shut-ins.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were just inside our house. Like we didn't go out. We didn't like go to restaurants or like movies or anything. That sounds like I'm such a sad childhood. But it's just. I mean,
and then finally you went out for Rumspringa and you finally got to encounter the world. Yeah.
It's just we just kept to ourselves. I mean that's how I am still. But like, I just never had like board games and so, like I play Monopoly.
But again, who hasn't?
I mean, yeah, right. So
And then that also makes a lot of sense why my knowledge is in that. But we never played video games. Like I mean we did. I didn't really focus on that.
Yeah.
You know, like it was the only one it was like Pokemon. You know, but that was the one time it was isolated. But then if not, it was playing with people. I played Legos. That stuff like that, like with my sisters. You know,
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh. I mean, I don't like
And it was the one color.
One
Get creative with shapes.
I did. I would make. It was green, so I would make vegetables.
Broccoli.
And then I hated them, so I was just like clumped all together.
I'll make you a broccoli that'll crush you.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. But yeah, but like then that probably led to video games, being home and being able to play stuff. being safe at home, feeling good at home.
Sure.
Okay, never mind. I'm trying to get deep. I'm trying to read lead. It doesn't work.
But yeah, I mean those. I mean, and I enjoy board games now. Like I always thought they were like a family oriented. Everybody gets together, American. You know, oh yeah, let's get together, family.
High Hotel.
And it was just like my family was not that at all. So it just I never cared for it. But now like I see them more. Yes, I mean as you said before. And it's a lot more fun, and I mean it can get competitive sometimes.
Yeah.
And
See, and like, which I've talked about before in Crit and Clank, like, I'm not a really competitive person. Like, I'm very like for a lot of the time, I'm like, let's just do this. Like, come on, it's fun. Let's all like kind of be together. Vegan powers. Peace. Community. Sometimes I can get real creative, and I am a sore loser. That's probably another big part of it. Is when I lose, I'm like when we would play
Mortal Kombat.
when we would play Chalupa with our family.
oh, okay.
Okay,
Wait,
is that a board game?
is that a board game? That's what I was gonna ask.
Like
is that a board
bingo?
game?
Is that a board game? I'll count it.
I think it is.
You know,
We're gonna play
it's
some
unlocked.
Chalupa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would play Chalupa, and my tia Nana, if she ever won because it was like the big posito, like all the money's
Oh,
in,
yeah.
we're on the final round, everyone's tired,
Yeah.
so it's like whoever wins this gets all the money, like everything that's left. If my tia Nana won, she would like dance and she'd be like, "Woo, I got this," and me and Paulina were known for crying. Because we were so upset that we lost and we didn't win, and then Tina was just rubbing it in our faces. So we would just be like crying. Sometimes she'd be like, "Fine, here's some," But it's like that has evolved into being sore losers in adult years. But I mean, it happens.
Because I mean, Chalupa was one of those games that we did play as a family. Because I mean, it's basically gambling.
Yeah,
it's
bingo,
basically
gambling. Yeah.
I mean, but we play like with like 10 cents a card, or
Yeah, it's
something
very
that's,
minute.
Yeah.
Very.
Within the family or whatever. But we would play that a lot, and everybody would get super into it, especially because we would make carne asada or something, and everybody would join in, and everybody's just eating, drinking, having a good time.
Yeah.
It just gets pretty heated.
I want my 10 cents back.
Did you put in already? You didn't put in.
Right.
Put in
Your
10 cents.
My
per
mom,
card.
my mom was the one making sure, and she would count it. She would count it and see how many cards we all had, just to make sure.
Our favorite thing was because I think we would play 5 cents a card, like one for the regular and one for the posito, right? So we wrapped 5 pennies in tape because we had so many pennies.
Oh.
It was just so we'd all have little stacks of pennies.
Oh,
that
so
were
you just
taped up.
Everybody hated when people put pennies into the. Nobody wanted the pennies.
That's why we wrapped them up.
Well, that's actually a good thing because okay.
But then if you won, then you had to
Yeah, you had
to
all
put
the
them in
pennies.
the sleeve.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now I don't play much with the family now because they play a quarter a card.
Oh, but they
So-
just.
And then it gets intense. And then sometimes it's fast. They're just "Hello, Pao, Caterito, la, 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 la," and I'm just I got 4 cards here. Oh my god.
No. God, I remember one time I had this. They had the bright idea of making me name each of the cards, and the people who already know me. I mean, I can understand Spanish. I can probably order stuff in Spanish, but if I try to say stuff, a lot of my accent will come out. And yeah, it's what's some of the words
Las jaras.
Las jaras,
Cantarito.
cantarito.
Mandolón.
En mandolón?
Violinceo.
What was that?
Violinceo.
The Violenciero?
Almost.
Oh, yeah.
Almost.
Oh,
With it.
But no,
so-
but
El melon.
but there's some words I could like nail real good, but then there's some words like, oh man, that gringo accent is coming out real good.
Violinceo was one for me.
Hey,
I was always like,
We should make a Quentin Clang of chalupa.
Oh my god!
That would be so good.
Comment down below.
Yes. Come on, Damar. Come on. I'm relying on you. I'm relying on you.
we're actually gonna make our own cards. We would do that. We would make our own cards.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like you would get like a strip of all of them,
Oh.
and then you would just like put a piece of cardboard.
Wouldn't that be like cheating at points?
I mean-
because you would put like.
You mean y'all's family didn't do that? We only play on handmade cards.
Yeah,
like it's
handmade
like somebody
cards.
brings like store bought, and we're like, no. Give them here.
No,
Like the little flimsy ones, gone.
No.
Yeah.
Like we made ours,
Yeah.
but like they were random.
Oh yeah.
Like we wouldn't like
Tape them?
or like stack them to a point.
Well, I mean, there's no way to stack them. You know, because you couldn't repeat the same symbol on a card. So it was just 16 random
No, yeah.
symbols. So it's, I mean, it would kind of be like our favorites.
Yeah.
You know, because like I know like I had my super lucky cards. You know, that had like el corazón, la palma, el sol. Wait, did I say the sol already? No, corazón, palma, sol. Oh, I can't remember the other one, but in the Posito.
Yeah.
And they had, it said BWB, my initials,
Mhm.
and a Whataburger hamburger sticker on the three of them. So no one would take them. Those are mine.
I actually with me, we all would take them. We wouldn't like put them together. We took
Yeah.
ours.
We had a
Like-
container of all of them, and your good ones, you took.
Yeah, you took with you because if you left them in there, somebody was gonna take them,
Mhm.
and you weren't gonna get them back. And
This kind of also, this shows you insight on how we were raised.
Basically.
I mean, you guys have heard both sides of my growing up. There was Jaco Cherio and Loteria.
There's two different sides right there.
Exactly.
Same.
And now evolving like board games and like games like that with the family. I don't know if there's anything that has ever been that interactive as Loteria. The only thing, which is our other side of our family, is a game called Pit. I don't know if I've played it with you guys, but it's like the idea of like a stock market, and you're like throwing cards at people and yelling and screaming.
like physically,
Well, like
or
so you have to match like 9 cards, and you can trade up to 4 with people, and you have to get all 9 of the same one. So if I have 4 that I don't want, I go 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, trying to trade someone else. And if someone else yells 4, it's like, okay, we can trade. And everyone is yelling and yelling and yelling.
wait,
and yelling.
so you can trade up to 4.
Mhm.
So when you get those 4, you can be like, oh, I only.
I'm gonna keep these. Oh, I'm gonna say 3, 3, 3,
Oh,
3, 3,
okay,
2,
okay,
2, 2,
okay,
2, 1,
okay.
1, 1, 1,
I get it.
And as soon as someone has all of the cards, you yell mark it. Okay? There's a wild card, and then there's one that is trash. It is always trash. It's called the bear. It does nothing for you. So if you get stuck with the bear, you get minus points.
Wait, what if you have all the bears?
There's only one bear.
Oh, okay. I thought there were like multiple ones.
This is not Commander, all right? You don't need to do tribal.
Not bear tribal. Not bear
No,
tribal.
not bear tribal.
But because it's like what's in the stock, so there's like gold and wheat and silver, platinum, and then there's something called a bull market and a bear market in stocks. Do I know what it is? No idea. But it's terminology. So that's why.
Interesting.
That'd be a fun one to go.
You need minimum 6 people. 5 maybe. 6, and I think you can go up to 10. Oh my gosh, playing this with my 90-year-old great grandmother. Did she play with? I think she played with us. When we went up to Nebraska.
Oh.
And we're all just like, it's so fun. But it's that sick. Like that gives me Loteria energy sometimes when Loteria gets heated. You know, that idea.
Yeah.
Nebraska, Brownsville.
Oh my god. two different things, but
Yeah, I think Loteria has been like one of those just like timeless, like just like I guess board game. I guess you could call
Yeah,
it.
no, that's what like it's a game.
Yeah.
It's a gambling game.
Yeah.
Also, La Sirena.
Oh, that was the first time I ever saw nipples. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I was like a kid, and I was like, why is she?
I was like, those are
Like,
babies.
are those woman breasts? I'm like,
Are those?
well, those.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I mean, it was a child. Like, I mean, I don't know what to think about. But yeah.
And also, low-key racist, high-key racist, El Negrito.
Oh, Negrito, yeah.
Oh God,
And
no.
at a point, I was like, I don't feel comfortable saying this. I understand, like,
Yeah.
the color is
That's-
negro.
It's in Spanish.
But saying little black in
Yeah.
Spanish?
Yeah, that one.
But that's one of those things. Like if it's in Spanish language, it's like, oh no. But then again, you see that on
And
that.
like it's not, man. I can't even.
I know, I can't even begin
Yeah.
to, like, start explaining, like,
No, and I had to say that, and like when I was calling out, I was like, I looked at,
El Negrito.
I had to look at everybody's like, really, this,
The tap dancer.
this.
And it's not even like it's not even trying to be racist or anything, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
like
one of those things that was just there, and it's just kind of like
Yep.
now it's like this whole. I mean, everybody knows it and like loves playing the game, and that just happens to be one of the icon things used for it. So,
Which
don't know.
also, like, stepping away from that, I think it's crazy that name and symbology versus numbers in, like, bingo. You know, like, there was, like, you're gonna play with numbers and you want to get matching numbers, but then it was, like, translated into pictures and names. You get me?
I think it's just more.
I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, you know, but
I would assume that it's more entertaining to have pictures.
yes, I definitely
Yeah.
think it's more engaging and stuff like that versus, you know, dots with numbers.
yeah,
But I also know there's a whole culture,
yeah.
Mariana, who play bingo, you know, and just enjoy that. Just like, ooh, your little stamp. Really? Yes, I think Paulina's played bingo. I've never gone to a place where they're like, bingo, you know, but like,
I've seen the place, and it's huge, like where my hometown is, and it's the parking lot. I feel like I'm like there should be like a Sam's or a Costco there, you know.
Costco? What kind of white?
We're gonna
Yeah.
we do Sam's
Yeah,
over
Costco.
here.
Huh?
Yeah,
Where?
It's I don't know, but it's somewhere.
We're going Costco.
Go to Costco, get a membership just to go all the way up to.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, like it's just holy crap. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty big.
Yeah, and that's large scale game interaction. You know, I think of like bingo, casinos.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like interacting. I mean, not like slot machines, but like I know we're kind of like moving into like card games and like bigger stuff like
But
that.
it's still
But-
same to
Yeah.
serve the same purpose. And I remember going over there to Las Vegas and seeing all the older seniors wasting their Social Security over there. It's like, dang.
Mm-hmm. Like it's just so engaging. Like people just like luck and
Yeah.
getting like winning something and feeling that accomplishment, you know, and stuff like that. Like I just keep it small scale and play Bunny Kingdom, and I like when I get
Those
the matriarch.
penny
Yeah.
slots, man, penny slots.
The one time I've been to Vegas, I was 18, something around there. Couldn't go into the casinos. I spent my whole time at Circus.
Yo.
Which was lit.
Yeah,
It
the
was
circus
lit.
Circus is lit.
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
But the first time that like I like super gambled like that, super gamble.
Super gambles?
Because Loteria is like little gamble.
Yeah.
Toma todo is like little gambling.
Mm.
You know, but that we went to Reno, and I was
Oh.
like, it's time. I can finally lost all my money. I made a little bit at one slot, and I was like, yeah. Threw it into another one. You know, crazy. But it's that idea of just like, there's a chance I can win. Luck. You know, ties back all the board games. And D&D rolling dice.
Yeah.
True.
True that.
No, but I don't. When I was over there, I didn't like gambling. I just liked the penny slots so I could get certain beverages for free.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why the Knights of Argos are going to Vegas once the pandemic is cleared.
Even
Comment
though-
below if you want to go with us on a road trip.
and then you can help us out with that. You know, pick your
Pigs business. Start sponsoring us.
We'll do some certain
We'll give you some stickers.
do special videos just like, hey guys.
Well, shout out to you. Baby. Let's see what else. Board games.
What about card games? What were like some of your first ones?
Ooh.
Well, played Skip Bow.
What the
Well, okay, we'll move on.
No.
We'll get even worse. Okay, well, the first one that I can think of is a game called Hand and Foot, which is kind of it's Midwestern-ish maybe, I don't know, but it's based off of the game Canasta, I believe, which is another Midwestern card game.
Okay.
But I mean, I learned how to play that in maybe elementary, middle school,
Okay.
and played it last night with my grandma.
I've heard of Canasta. I don't know what it is. I've never
Oh yeah,
played it.
we play with 6 decks of cards. You get groups of 7 with wild cards, which are 2s and jokers.
You lost me at.
Oh yeah,
7.
yeah. And that's the thing with these games. There's like rules and rules and rules and rules and rules because you can do so much with a single deck of cards.
Mm.
You know, because like another big one that I remember. Well, like poker. I remember my dad is a very skilled card player and has won big money in tournaments.
Well, he knows a lot. He knows some good
He knows
math.
yeah, exactly. He knows stats and stuff like that. So it's easy, which gets my grandma and mom upset. Because table talk, stuff like that. But besides that is war.
Oh, war. Yeah. It's just simple.
You flip it over, whichever one's higher, that one gets the point.
Oh.
I remember playing that really, really young.
Oh yeah, that's a
Like
very
with my
simple.
sisters.
That's a super simple. Yeah, I think that's one of the first ones I learned, and then blackjack.
Yeah.
And that was simple addition right there.
There was this one game. I don't know what it was called, but it was called Speed.
Oh yes.
I forgot how you played it,
And
but
then
you
double
had to
speed.
just
Double
yes,
speed.
Yeah, you just go super fast, and it was just like, oh man.
I was good at speed. I wasn't good at double speed. I think my older sister played speed a lot.
I remember being
Sorry,
good
not
at
my older
Speed.
sister. Popo. You guys know her already.
The boomer.
The boomer, the one that was wheezing.
I hate you.
But yeah, like those were some of the first like early ones that I was like exposed to, and which I played a lot at school as well.
Yeah, no, like I said, war was one, and then blackjack. But pretty much that was pretty much it. Because then I was doing video games from elementary, middle school, high school. Then when I went to college, I did less video games, did more D&D.
Magic.
Magic was sophomore, junior year in college. Because like my fraternity brothers were dying for me to do magic. But I was like, no man, I want to do some D&D. and they're like, nah, here's a deck.
Here's bras.
Here's Grosh.
Grosh.
Play. So, Prosh made me get into Magic, but that was technically that is the third card game that I ever learned.
Yeah.
See, I mean, like, at a really young age, we had Pokemon cards, and I collected those, and
Yeah.
we played, you know, stuff like that. And I know I played with my sisters. There was also a video game that we had, which was the Pokemon TCG, like, arena thing, so I would play that all the time. There was a Harry Potter trading card game. Don't remember how to play it, but I know we had it. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Played with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I know I have some Digimon cards in my stash of cards. Crazy. Yeah, those were the big ones. I mean, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh went on for a while. I got rid of all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards in like high school. I gave them to someone. I still have Pokemon cards. But then Magic surfaced in like my senior year of high school.
Yeah, I collected Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Digimon, digital monsters. I never saw an episode.
What?
I've
Serious?
never seen an episode of Digimon. Crazy.
I think Digimon is because there's Digimon and then there's Pokemon.
Choose your words carefully.
Digimon, digital monster.
I actually saw Digimon. Like, okay, so wait, hold on, no. I saw Pokemon, but I saw it in Spanish. Okay.
Pokemon, monsters.
and then later I saw Digimon, and I actually liked Digimon more than Pokemon. Like I collected.
Thank you all so much. That was a great day. We're gonna find 2 new replacements for the Knights who like Pokemon.
Just a crash off all the like.
Like I collected and I had Pokemon cards, but I never had anybody else to play with or like even like trade with.
Were you an only child, Lee?
No,
Where are these siblings?
they were not there. I was just me.
Super TBH. I mean, my sisters and I, now we have a good relationship, you know, like, but I mean, early on, I don't remember, like, I remember playing games with them, but I remember, like, parents and grandparents being like, we're playing. You know, it was like, we're playing hand and foot, get along. Like, it was kind of like that. It was like, okay. So that's why it was like, we're, like, we go over to grandma and grandpa's and it's like, we're gonna play hand and foot, or we're gonna play Mexican Train, dominoes, you know, meanie. That's. We're getting into
I don't
another
know
category.
any of these games that you're naming, but it's just
Scrabble, Rummy Cube.
Rummy Cube?
Let me think of some other made up words.
Old maid.
Old Maid. That was the one that we played a lot of. Yeah, so like I played a lot of games with my sister and family.
I did not. We were all doing my own thing, and I was just this kid.
This kid. I just imagine like a little boy's body, but Lee's head. Just like it's always been Lee's head.
Playing like computer games, just like.
Yeah, I think that's why I just gravitated towards computer games, or video games in general, because
You can play by yourself.
yeah, I can do yeah. I mean, I okay. So one of the things was like I did get into Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I did collect them, and I did play. Like I still know how to play, and I think I still have some of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But then I just lost interest because the game kind of just broke itself.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it got
Like,
real crazy.
I was just like, well,
and I stopped at the Elemental Heroes.
oh, I stopped before that.
Oh, okay.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, like the old cards now, like Blue Eyes, White Dragon, that is a weak card now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you just
Which it's kind of sad because like I love the original like Yu-Gi-Oh setup cards and
Yeah.
everything like that.
Same. Yeah.
But
Oh.
but it's just one of those things where unlike Magic, like the old cards can be
super OP.
OP because just the keywords and everything.
Mhm.
But it's kind of sad when you invest on like some of the old cards from the beginning, and then it's just like
Mhm. Same thing with Pokemon.
yeah,
Like some of the old cards are like obsolete because there's so many new mechanics that were added on that you can't just put onto the old cards. So it's kind of like, well, I can't really play them,
Yeah.
competitively, or like they're good, stuff like that. What I was gonna say was I definitely gravitated. Whoa, I'm a tortoise. Gravitated toward the characters who had more themes on their Yu-Gi-Oh decks. So like the girl who had like the harpy deck.
Oh, the blonde one.
Yeah, the guy who had like the bug deck.
oh yeah.
Stuff like that,
I hate
rather
that
than
guy.
like
No, I hate that
Yugi, who was like, oh, I got Celtic warrior, and then the little fur ball, and then
Dark magician.
yeah, exactly. It was just kind of like mishmash. I didn't like that. I don't like that. But then it was like, oh, I got Harpy Lady 2, Harpy Dragon, or like I got Toon World, Toon.
I love that deck. I wanted to have those cards. I wanted to have Toon World.
Toon Skull Summoned.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that was
stuff
so
like
What
that.
was the kid's name with the red eyes black dragon?
Oh, that was Joey.
Joey.
Yeah.
Did he do a bunch of like dragons too?
Yeah. Yeah, his was more like towards dragon stuff, but he didn't have a lot. Like
Yeah.
his main card, or like his most powerful card, was the Red Eyes
Black Dragon.
Because it wasn't like what's the guy's name with the blue eyes white dragon?
Kyla.
Kaiba?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like had the blue eyes, and then he had 3 blue eyes white dragons that he fused.
The
them.
ultimate.
Yeah.
And then Exodia became big, and then crazy. See, and that's why like Elemental Heroes happened, and I was like, I like this. It's based off the elements, but I only really liked it because there was 2 Hydrogons and 1 Oxygon or something like that were like dinosaurs,
Mhm.
and you combine them into the water dragon because it was H2O.
Oh.
It was so good. And there was a girl on fire. That's all I remember. That's all I remember.
I stopped after like when they introduced like all the gods, or like the
Exodia?
no like the other ones, like there were like these powerful like monster gods.
Exodia.
No. I don't know. It was like this red dragon. I forgot what they're called.
Black no,
No.
was it red eyes black dragon?
Scott. It's a red dragon and then a blue guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Like a golden.
yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Those.
I wanted to say the red one was swiper, no swiping. But it's like Skyfleur.
I don't know. I don't know the name.
Scryfler.
Yeah, maybe I put them in there somewhere. I don't
Maybe,
know.
but yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was cool, and then after that, I just stopped because it was.
Well,
just getting crazy.
isn't there only one particular deck that you can have in Yu-Gi-Oh, and you're pretty much set to beat everybody?
I don't know.
That's why
I don't know
I've
the
heard,
meta.
like,
I don't know that
Yeah, I
anymore.
don't know.
Same with Pokemon. I don't know what the meta is. Like playing the card game now, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
I still love it. I love looking at the cards. I have some good ones. But like even the show with that, I'm still caught up. I've seen the new series. It's great.
I have not.
Ash still being 10 or 12 years old.
Yes. It makes no sense. The meta is gone.
This is
But
really good.
ask Seth about it, because Seth hates
What?
Pokemon, like the TV show.
Oh yeah, I've talked to him about it, and he's like, I hate it.
Yeah. But yeah, we're railroading. We're
Yeah.
we're tangenting. But I mean, we've covered a bunch.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
I mean, as you guys have seen in these episodes, we like ramble. Like, there's so much to talk about, and like, not saying that we're professionals, because one of us introduced the other 2 to both board games and tabletop games. But we can talk. There's so much that we have learned and grasped from all the different games that we've played. We can start becoming very specific about what we're talking about and just go off for a while.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah.
Any last comments? Any last?
Definitely recommend some sort of role playing game to anyone. You know, like even when it's not Dungeons and Dragons, there's so many out there. I mean, some of the ones that we've tried are Dungeons and Dragons, the Call of Cthulhu, Hero System, Harry Potter tabletop, Pokemon tabletop. I just said Harry Potter tabletop. Numenera. You know, there's so many different options out there. There's a One Piece tabletop.
What?
Oh yes, Dante had talked about it.
Oh my god.
And I've never seen One
Of course
Piece, but I was
Dante
like,
would.
this sounds kind of interesting, low key.
Oh, there's also an alien tabletop RPG.
Alien table. See, there's so many
that's-
options, and it appeals to so many different people, and they're so open that I definitely think if you take the time and like get to know the system, that's the biggest thing about some tabletops is like it can be kind of intricate.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you take a moment and like sit down, read if you can read, or listen, and just become try to understand how to get into it, and then try it out, like, or find a group, you know, like at a store, you know, while you're wearing a mask and you're 6 feet apart, you know, or
Hello.
with some
Get a stick.
with some other friends, you know, and just trying it out. I know it's hard to like interact with people
Yeah.
physically, but there's so many options online to connect with people through Roll20, Discord servers, you know, and other things like that. That it's available out there, and yeah, like I definitely just encourage people to try it out, or even like watch someone play, listen to a podcast.
Definitely.
Yes.
You know,
Like if you don't know where to start, you can definitely just go ahead and just look up somebody just playing through, you know, like
on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube
You know,
or
there's stuff like that. There's
Spotify,
animated versions. Yeah, there's podcasts. So I definitely recommend you guys just checking out those different outlets and figuring a way to just kind of immerse yourself into that. Board games, a little bit differently, you know, playing that. But there's also apps and different places that you can go online that it's like a virtual, like you said, like a board game become video game.
Yeah.
You know, so that you can experience it, and then once you feel safe enough to play with people, you know, then getting that chance to do that.
And like you said, there's always a certain app, or like Seth recently got me into Cockatrice, whatever that's called,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where you can
Oh yeah, that
To
yeah,
buy Magic.
Cockatrice, yeah.
Cockatrice.
Yeah.
Basically, it has a huge library of Magic the Gathering cards, and basically it's you choose all your cards, you make your commander deck or standard, whatever kind of format you want to play, and
So whoever plays standard, you cool.
I mean, yo, good for you. I just don't want to keep on spending money. But basically, you're able to build your deck right there, and then go out and connect with your friends online, and boom, you're good. You're good, and also you can build prototype decks without spending money to see how you can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool thing I really like.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really neat feature because I started using it too, and then I mean you can literally create as many decks as you want.
You could finally do your bear tribal deck.
Yeah, like I made it and we played a round and it was.
It's like, no,
I gotta think it through a little bit more.
Well, I mean, I drew like 2 mana for like 7 rounds.
Oh well,
It was
okay,
so
you're a
bad.
mana dumb.
Yeah, it was so bad. But I mean, it gives you a chance to test out decks if you before you start like spending money or anything, and
Yeah.
it gives you a good idea of how the deck's gonna work out.
And then like I said, same for like board games. I know my sister plays Dominion on her phone. Not anymore.
Not anymore, they got rid of it.
Gotcha.
What?
Mystic Veil. They got rid of the Dominion app.
Wait, I didn't know Dominion was on
Mobile.
on
It's been a couple of years, but yeah.
Oh, man,
It's off.
I had bought like all the expansions, but they lost the licensing for it, so
Damn,
yeah.
I would have been playing it if I knew. I love that
Mystic
game.
Veil, Terraforming Mars, Civilization. Well, that's always been a.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've played the board game. Board game, not fun. Would not recommend. Makes me true.
But yeah, same thing for board games, you know, because there's different applications like I know my sister plays like Dominion, Mystic Vale, Terraforming Mars. You know, different board games that we have seen played. But, you know, having them on the mobile apps and stuff like that, so that you can still keep playing them and even connect with other people, maybe potentially, you know, and stuff, and still play safely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well, go ahead and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We have a Twitter now.
we do.
And any last words?
No, comment below, answer all of the things that we've talked about. Let us know anything.
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 Tell Lee that
Just
he's
comment.
salty. Tell me I'm a squishy boy. Tell Brandon
He's thick.
one of those things.
Well,
Alrighty, guys. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon.